It's an NL Central Division showdown between the Milwaukee Brewers and the St. Louis Cardinals. How have the Brewers been able to sustain success on a budget while the Cardinals have floundered trying to do it? This is a Locked on Cardinals, Locked on Brewers crossover.
You are Locked on MLB crossover, part of the Locked on Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, baseball fans. I'm JD Hafron, your host for Locked on Cardinals. We got Chuck Freimund with me, host of Locked on Brewers. We are part of the Locked on Podcast Network, covering your team every day. We want to thank those of you who make both Locked on Cardinals and Locked on Brewers your first listen each and every day, free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So download that app today. Division games always have a little more juice to them, and this one, despite the discrepancy in wins and losses, should still have some flair to it, with the Cardinals and Brewers clashing in Milwaukee one last time this season. And as always, great to see my brother from the north, Mr. Chuck Freimund from Locked on Brewers. Feels really good to see you, Chuck. Always feels good, but it's even better after a Packers victory on Thursday Night Football. I got my little flag here, buddy. Go Pack, go, Chuck. How are you and the rest of Wisconsin feeling today?
Well, we do share that, even though we're on opposite ends with our baseball teams. You're a Packer fan, I'm a Packer fan, and yeah, things are going well in this state. And got the game done Thursday, so there's no conflict with the game on Sunday. You'd be surprised when the Packers and Brewers do play at the same time, and the Brewers have a home game. The Brewers still get good crowds. I don't notice any difference. You don't look at the crowd and say, man, the Packers are playing. No wonder why there's nobody here. No, they still draw really well on a Sunday afternoon. Now, in this case, the Brewers will play Sunday unopposed against anybody. So it'll be cool. Great to join you. I figure since now you've joined Locked on MLB, become a big star with the network. I don't know. I didn't think you remember your boy in Milwaukee anymore.
I will never forget you, Chuck. You're one of my first real friends on this network, man. We've always clicked really well. Obviously, having the love for the Packers, which, by the way, for moving forward, I must be announced as an owner of the Packers. I'm not just a fan. I am an NFL owner for the last 2 years or so. I was able to get in on that. So that's how I want to be addressed from here on out. Packers owner, JD Hafron, as well as host of Locked on Cardinals. But the excitement surrounding the Packers obviously is massive right now. At the same time, in Wisconsin, you're also enjoying the best record in baseball. Things are really, really good for Wisconsin right now. The Milwaukee Brewers, who despite ranking 23rd in total payroll with a little under $113 million spent this year, have outperformed the rest of the league here in 2025. This is nothing new. That Milwaukee has been amongst the elite teams in baseball during the regular season. Fourth best record last season, fifth best the year before that. Haven't had a losing season since the COVID year in 2020, which nobody really counts anyway, unless you're the Dodgers who won that year. And before that, it was 2016. Chuck, I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to ask you nicely. Spill your guts. What is the secret to the Brewers' sustained success while not overspending on players and having, this bloated payroll that some of these other teams have?
Well, I feel it's a little page of the St. Louis Cardinals playbook in that doing things right, playing baseball right, high baseball IQ guys who are smart guys who don't make mistakes. I don't have the most talented team in the world out there. They don't have all-stars up and down their lineup, but they have a lot of good players, a lot of good, smart, heady players who make good decisions out there. And I feel like this team, has been delivering so much this year. Now, you look at it, they've been able to get to the best record in baseball. They've had 2 long winning streaks this summer, an 11-game and a 14 on 2 separate occasions. I mean, what baseball team? You don't see too many times that happens over the years in MLB where you get 2 double-digit winning streaks. Now, since this 14-game winning streak, which ended a few weeks ago, the Brewers have gone 11 and 14. So they're playing a little sub-500 baseball since then. But since that 14-game winning streak, expectations have skyrocketed. And if the team goes on maybe a little bit of a 2-game skid, it's like, oh no, the sky is falling. but I still think this is the best team. Not only record-wise they are, but they're the best team, I think, in baseball.
Now on the roster, you look at the Brewers roster, and like you said, it's not littered with superstar players. I mean, Christian Yelich in his day, obviously was an MVP winner. But, Jackson Chourio, we think is going to be a superstar at some point. But, the injury this year kind of knocked him down a few notches just because he wasn't on the field, not because his numbers have suffered at all. But you've been able to get the best out of guys like Bryce Terang and Sal Frelick and Isaac Collins and Andrew Vaughn. Like, what is it about the Brewers and your coaching staff, maybe? What's the secret to getting the most out of guys that other people would say is just, they're okay ball players, but they seem to go to another level while wearing that Brewers uniform?
There's very much a college coaching approach to the way Brewers do things. They have a young team and they have a college coach, Pat Murphy. And when I say coach, he's a manager, but he's also coaching these guys too. If you watch him, he'll get on guys in the dugout, just like you'll see on the college level, some of these coaches. He was a coach at Arizona State, coach at Notre Dame, and he took over for Craig Counsell, and he manages this team, but he coaches this team too, if that makes any sense, where he demands that the teams go out there and execute and play smart baseball. There's been times when a player has made a mistake, a mental mistake, like trying to steal home or not getting a good jump or making the throw to the wrong base, and that player will come back in the dugout and Murph will let him have it, or he'll get pulled in a game. You don't see that on the professional sports level. This team operates like that, and they have a bunch of hungry guys on this team, just a bunch of hungry guys who are trying to make their own bones in Major League Baseball.
Now, you guys have been able to make some pretty bold transactions in recent years, and I'm not talking about so much as guys that you've signed, but the names that you've let leave Milwaukee that has shocked some people. They moved on from Josh Hader, Corbin Burns, Willie Adames, Devin Williams. You moved on from your manager, Craig Counsell. You're like, bye, see ya, take the money, see ya. Which one of those moves do you feel like was the best move that they've made so far? And which one do you feel like, if we could redo it, maybe we should have brought that guy back? Or is there anything like that at all? Maybe you don't regret any of them.
I don't regret any of them. At first, losing Counsell, and then I'm not all that impressed with him as a manager. As I see him down in Chicago, because some of the things that he did as managing the Cubs, we see it here. The Brewers, when Counsell was the manager, you'd see them just sometimes completely lifeless. And I like to tag the Cubs as team lifeless. And I know Cub fans don't like it, but that's just the way it is. I see sometimes those Chicago teams, I feel like, man, they get down and that's ball game, or they get an early lead and they kind of sit on it. Brewers don't do this under Murphy. They're not that way. There's a fight, there's a fire, and there's a passion, which I didn't see under Craig Counsell. So losing Craig Counsell, the Brewers got the better of the two managers. Pat Murphy, clearly a better manager, and then Craig Counsell. So I'm glad the Cubs didn't take Pat Murphy, and they kept him for us, who was kind of an afterthought in the process. But even the players they've lost, like Corbin Burns, they traded him in a contract year. He was going to play his final year under arbitration, and that was it. They traded him. They got Ortiz out of it. They traded Devin Williams. That worked out. They got Caleb Durbin, who's been just unbelievable and fits into what the Brewers have to do. So I would say I can't regret anything the Brewers have done. Even at the trading deadline, JD, they did not make any moves. They didn't do anything. Not at all. They got Danny Jansen earlier in the week, and some would question that. But so far, they didn't go out and make any big moves. You look at it, and they've been just fantastic so far, and despite not making any of those deadline moves, really.
Yeah, and it says something about your front office, which, is very confident in the people that they have in the building already. And we're like, look, we don't need that. We just need some complementary pieces to go along with, this core that they've already built and put together. And it's been something very, very special to watch. You know, people don't talk about the Brewers quite enough just because they're not in a major market and they don't get the attention that I think they deserve for being as consistent as they have. And you mentioned that's something that the Cardinals used to be, you know, for the longest time. And, you know, they're still not like bottom of the barrel type of team in the league, you know, or they're still hovering around 500, but, you know, that's not good enough for what we're used to as St. Louis Cardinal fans. But to see how a team like Milwaukee and similar like teams like Cleveland and other guys that are in smaller markets, they don't overpay, they don't have bloated budgets, and yet they're competing with the big teams in the big cities each and every year. And this year, the Brewers still hanging on to that top spot in the major league. So we're going to talk about the playoff picture in just a little bit, but we're going to discuss in more detail the specifics about this upcoming series between the Brewers and the Cardinals coming up next on this Locked On crossover. Today's episode is being brought to you by Nutrafol. Now, you've probably seen a million ads for hair growth products and thought, yeah, right, sure, that doesn't work, does it? I'm sure it does, right? Yeah. There are so many products that are out there on the market. It's hard to know which ones are actually going to do anything for you, and that's why you should give Nutrafol a closer look if you haven't already, because they are the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand, trusted by over 1.5 million people, and it's not just hype. This is a supplement that is clinically tested to target the root causing of the thinning and the shedding of the hair with a proactive approach. Confidence is key in everything you do. So whether you're out at work, you're hanging out with friends, or maybe you're just getting ready in the morning, Nutrafol is going to help you get that confidence going in your daily routine. And it is super simple to add to what you're already doing. 4 pills with a meal, no prescription needed. Boom, easy. And you can feel good about it, knowing that Nutrafol is NSF certified and backed by peer-reviewed studies. See thicker, stronger hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering Locked On MLB listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code Locked On MLB. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code Locked On MLB. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals and Locked On Brewers your first listen every day. If you enjoy daily content about the Cardinals or Brewers or both, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow us on all of our social media platforms and on YouTube. And we greatly appreciate your support. Chuck Freimund from Locked On Brewers, JD Hafron here from Locked On Cardinals, doing our crossover here because our two teams are going to be button heads this weekend, Chuck. Brewers are, they were on, you mentioned earlier, those winning streaks that they had. They were on quite a heater for a while there. And you mentioned as well that they've cooled off just a little bit recently. In your opinion, what's been going on with the Brewers in the last, week or two? And does what you're seeing now make you nervous that maybe they got hot too quick? Because some people will say that, you need to be playing your best baseball the last 2 weeks of the season. Obviously, we're not quite there yet. But, people wonder, did the Brewers get hot too quick this season? Your thoughts?
Well, the Brewers are just coming off getting swept by the Texas Rangers in Texas.
Yeah. Talk about a hot team, those guys right now.
Oh, without question, man. And JD, this is the first time the Brewers have been swept in a series, a 3-game series, since the end of March when they opened the season against the Yankees. So that's, this is the second time. And see how they bounce back. They had the off day on Thursday. You guys are coming to town. I know you had a tough series in Seattle against the Mariners. We're hanging in every one of those games. In fact, I think you guys had early leads in all 3 of those games, right?
Yes.
And then, I think we had early leads. But, Seattle's good, and Seattle's had one of those magical years as well. I saw they won last night against the Angels in extra innings. But, we'll see how the Brewers bounce back against the Cardinals. You guys, a couple of games under the 500 mark, technically still in the wild card chase. I don't look at it like, man, time to get fat on the Cardinals. I don't care if you guys were winless at this point. You're gonna come in here and fight these guys with Palante on the hill tonight. Priester's going from Milwaukee. I'm hoping the Brewers can take 2 or 3. All right, I'm not expecting the sweep. But I would love to see them get back on the winning track and end this brief 3-game skid tonight against the Cardinals.
Yeah, the series with Seattle, it was really actually a lot of fun to watch despite the Cardinals getting swept. Like you mentioned, they jump out to some leads, but that Seattle Mariners, that the offense and their bullpen, like they got that's a dangerous team come playoff time. I can promise you that. And they're playing defense out of their minds, which is not something they were really that well known for, especially on that left side of the infield. And they just, dude, Eugenio was making diving plays, and so is JP Crow. I'm like, who the heck are these guys? This was not supposed to happen like this. But they were hard fought games that the Cardinals would lose, but at the same time, like for the most part, well played games. There's going to be mistakes here and there, and that happens when your team's as young as the Cardinals are right now. But it was fun. There were competitive games. That last game went 13 innings, and then, like you mentioned, the Mariners had to play another. I think it was 12 innings against the Angels last night. So 25 innings of baseball for those guys recently. They had 21 extra inning games already this year. Or I should say already,
and the Mariners are the first team in baseball history since we've gone to that courtesy runner at second base to play 2 extra inning games of 12 or more in a row.
Yeah, that is nutty for them. But I was proud of the Cardinals, the way that they competed against Seattle, who, many are picking to do quite well. Some people were thinking that that's the team that's going to come out of the American League this year into the World Series. So I was proud of that. This is going to be – go ahead.
I'm sorry. I want to ask you about your team. You guys were supposed to have a rebuilding year, and by the Cardinal standards, it maybe kind of has been, but I don't think it's as bad a year. I mean, from the outside looking into you guys, as maybe we thought it was going to be for your team. You're still only a couple games under the 500 mark.
Yeah, I think things have gone better than many predicted it would. That really good month of May has kind of helped them along. They haven't been nearly as good in the second half, but there's also been some injuries. Some of the veteran guys that were around, like, Nolan Arenado, though not having a great year offensively, it's still him. It's still Nolan Arenado, and it's still him down at the hot corner playing, and it's his vibes in the dugout. Brendan Donovan, the lone all-star from the team, he's dealt with some injuries, should be back this weekend against Milwaukee, though. So they had those issues. Wilson Contreras has been beat up again this year. He's been plunked 100 times. It's been crazy. Just came off that suspension. Alec Burleson was down for a little bit. So they've had some reasons why. I don't want to say excuses, but overall, I just think it's just they need more talent, and this was a year that they were going to let a lot of these younger guys play more. And despite the injuries hurting them in the standings, it's actually opened up the door for some of these guys like a Nolan Gorman and a Thomas and JC, and some guys that they're hoping will be big parts of their future to, see more action on the diamond. Pitching wise, it's been an issue. You mentioned tonight's matchup, Quinn Priester, 12-2 this year against Andre Palante at 6-13. He has regressed in a big way from what he did in the second half of last year. It's been an issue, although he pitched well in his last outing. So maybe, he's figured something out and can take that into tonight's matchup. But Quinn Priester, one of those guys that nobody predicted would be a big part of anybody's team this year. And here he is at 12-2 for the Brewers. What's been the big reason for the turnaround for Quinn?
They got him on the night of the national championship game in college basketball, and they got him. They gave a big haul for him to Boston, which I was surprised at. And he was down there in the farm system. He's come up here. He's it is first year with the Brewers. He has set a franchise record. He's won 11 straight games in a row. Even the games that he doesn't get a decision, the Brewers seem to win. So he's got that going. They just win with him on the mound, and he's been great. Now, he hasn't pitched in a week. The Brewers, not only with the day off, but they also gave their starters an extra day off by calling up Chad Patrick to pitch on Tuesday night. So they got that going for them. We'll see how Priester, with that much rest, how he is tonight on the mound. But he's been great. He's been absolutely great in making a case to start at a postseason game.
Yeah, and he was actually a prospect that came up with the Pirates. And, that's just another one that looks like might have gotten away from Pittsburgh, which has got to be driving them nuts. Saturday, it's a veteran matchup between Sonny Gray and Brandon Woodruff. Sonny has been the Cardinals' best pitcher. His issues really have been the long ball. If he can keep the ball in the ballpark, he normally wins. If he doesn't, that's when problems start happening. And we know how well the ball flies in Milwaukee. Woodruff bouncing back from injury. How have you felt about his response to coming back from, an injury that knocked him out for almost 2 years?
Oh, he's been great. Pitched shutout baseball in 6 innings his last time out. last Saturday in Pittsburgh. If he starts a couple of them before that, but I thought he really got back on track against the Pirates this past week. And so far, better than expected for a guy who's, coming off shoulder surgery, has been excellent, I think, for the Brewers. Could make a case that he could be the number one starter. I think he's got to for sure start a postseason game. Another guy tonight coming off a week's rest, like we talked about with Priester. So I've been feeling good about him. Really good. I love what he's a competitor. And I'm looking forward to that matchup on Wednesday night or Saturday night with Sonny Gray on the mound for you guys.
Yeah, I know a lot of teams around the league, including the Cardinals, where when Woodruff was supposed to become a free agent, despite the injury, everybody was like, ooh, this could be a guy. And he was like, I'm not going anywhere. So excellent. Excellent signing and putting faith in one of your guys for Milwaukee, and it's paying off for them. And then on Sunday, Miles Mikolas against The Miz, Jacob Mizorowski. A lot of controversy earlier this year about whether or not The Miz should have been in the All-Star game or not. People got all bent out of shape about it. I'm like, dude, it's the All-Star. Who cares? It's a chance to put some of the young stars on a platform. Who cares? Let them have it. It's fine. But things have gone not as good for The Miz. He dealt with a little bit of injury there as well. How's he been looking recently?
Well, his last start, too, in Pittsburgh last Sunday. Fantastic. Walked the first two guys of the game, bounced back, longest start of the year, 7 innings, threw over 100 innings. They really stretched him out in that game. So another guy who he was so good when he first came up here and drew all that attention late June, mid-June, and then into the July and into the All-Star, and had a couple of shaky
made his first start against the Cardinals and blew right through them.
That's right. Now, it's a learning curve still for him. So the problem is sometimes he gets into issues walking guys and high pitch counts and all that. So another guy I'm looking forward to seeing how he does on Sunday after a terrific start last time out.
Yeah. As far as these matchups goes, the best bet for the Cardinals to win a game might be, I would say, Saturday with Gray against Woodruff, because you just never know what you're going to get out of Palante and Mikolas. And there's always that chance that they're just going to get murdered on the mound, that things are not going to go well. So but Mikolas has pitched much better. So obviously we'll see how things play out. MLB playoff picture. I want to ask you about this next, Chuck. See if there's anybody that you might be worried about in the National League on the Brewers side of things as we get closer and closer to October. We'll talk about those coming up next on this Locked On crossover. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer right now. New customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits however you want to bet. You want to do player props? Perfect. They got it for you. What about same-game parlays? Something I did last night. They got it for you. Or maybe you just want to jump in live as the action unfolds. You can do that too. Packers tight end Tucker Kraft. I hold him near and dear to my heart. I think he is incredible. Doesn't get as much love across the NFL as he should, but had him last night in my parlay in their win over Washington. Had him. This guy right here. Had him with the over on receiving yards. I also had a Josh Jacobs touchdown. He had hit 9 in a row, made it 10 last night, and then I had no faith in Noah Brown, 25 receiving yards. Took the under there. Boom, victory. That's how quick and easy it is with FanDuel. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by using FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Thanks again for making Locked On Cardinals and Locked On Brewers your first listen every day. For your second listen, check out Locked On MLB Game Night. It's every game, every night until a World Series champion is crowned. Get local analysis, but on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. All right, Brewers are trying to hang on to that number 1 seed. Chuck was kind enough to say, Cardinals aren't out of this playoff picture yet. Well, okay. But the Brewers we know are in. They're trying to hang on to the top spot. Phillies, despite losing Zach Wheeler and having Trey Turner out right now, just humbled the Mets, took care of business there, which is helping some of the other teams in the National League wildcard chase, namely the Giants and the Reds. But right now, you've got the Brewers in the top spot. Then it's the Phillies, Dodgers, Cubs, Padres, and Mets. First question for you, Chuck. Do the Mets make it? And if not, who do you think sneaks into that final wild card spot?
The Mets, man, beginning of the season, if you would have told me, I would have said the Mets are a shoo-in because they were great. They were like 20 games over.
Right.
I don't know what I saw the Mets here. I don't know. They have all this talent. I don't know what their problem is. I mean, even like yesterday, they jumped out to a 4-0 lead on the Phils. I don't know what their issue is, but they have no interest. There's just a lack of interest out there with them. The team that I would worry about, and I don't think the Brewers have to take a backseat to anybody. The Phillies are coming on strong right now, as you mentioned, though they swept the Mets, and they're 2.5 behind Milwaukee. I really think it's so important for the Brewers to get a top seed. They've had this top seed for most of the summer. They got to hold on to it, and they got to stave off the Phillies. So I'm scoreboard watching these days, but not about the Cubs, because I think the Brewers are still going to, even though they're only 5.5 ahead of the Cubs. I'm worried about the way the Phillies are coming on strong right now.
Yeah. If the Mets don't make it in, who do you like, Giants or Reds? Wouldn't that be something? 3 more teams from the Central.
Oh, I'd love to see the Reds in there. I think the Reds, I think they play with some fight. I know that, there's been times that they've struggled, and I've liked the Reds the last couple of years. In fact, I even picked them to win the division last year. I'd love to see a team from our division get in, and to our guys from Locked On Reds. I love to see those guys have their season extended for a little bit as well. But yeah, I think San Francisco turned its season around, so to speak, here in Milwaukee. They won an extra
out of nowhere too.
Yeah.
Just all of a sudden you're like, where are the Giants are here? What is going on?
Well, that's the thing. The Giants won a game here on a Sunday afternoon. They were down to their final out, and a 2-run single up the middle gave them the win over Milwaukee, and they've been on fire ever since. They cooled off a little bit here last couple of days, but man, yeah. Well, that's why when I say, you guys are still in it, you could come here and play well, and who knows what's going to happen here in the final couple of weeks of the season. I know you got a lot of teams you're going to leapfrog, but I don't think you're out of it just yet based on the craziness what we've seen in September.
Yeah, my thing with the Cardinals and why I feel like it's a bit of a lost cause, it's not because they're not trying, and it's not because they're a terrible team or anything. I just don't trust the starting pitching. Like when you get the series that we're going into right now, Sonny Gray, you're like, okay, we'll probably get a decent start out of him. But again, the question marks over Palante and Michaelis, and when every third day there's somebody like that is throwing for you, where it could just go haywire and it could just destroy your bullpen because that guy can't get through 3 innings. It's tough to trust, which is where I'm at right now with the Cardinals. But I am enjoying the fact that, like I said, that Seattle series, I had a great time. They got swept, and I had a great time watching them play ball and compete with one of the best teams. And I hope we get the same fight and the same type of intensity out of them in Milwaukee this weekend when they face the Brewers. If they get swept again, I'm not so much concerned about wins and losses right now. I just want to see progress out of what the Cardinals are doing. Second question for you. American League side of things. I know this is a National League crossover, but American League side of things, who are you liking over there in the AL?
I do like Seattle. You talked about them earlier. I do like the Mariners. I saw them in their series with your team, and I saw them play last night against the Angels, and a lot of them this year. Randy Rosarina, man, he has just got the clutch gene in him.
Who would trade that guy? I mean,
I would love him here. Man,
would do that.
Man, that guy is just so clutch. And Cal Raleigh, of course, what he's done this year, playing on an MVP caliber. But I think the Mariners, man, are just they do a lot of things right as well. You mentioned how well they play defense too. Seattle is my pick to come out of the American League. Although the Yankees, playing much better again. They blew out Detroit last night. Maybe the Tigers, but I like Seattle. Who do you like?
I mean, after coming from Seattle, it's hard not to be impressed with what they've got. And I'll tell you what, it's because their lineup 1 through 6 is disgusting. Like 7, 8, 9, you could probably get through those guys and not have too much concern. But 1 through 6 is just nuts. And even Polanco, like maybe it's 1 through 6. It's a deep team when it comes to their lineup. And then you've also got obviously very good starting pitching out of those guys. Some of them haven't quite gotten to the level that we thought they were going to be at this year, but their bullpen with Munoz and Matt Brash, like,
Yeah.
holy cow. I don't even know how
Oh, yeah.
people hit that dude. It's insane. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to take them down in a series, which brings me to my final question for you. Brewers, they get in the playoffs, which we're pretty sure that's going to happen. Who do you think are going to be your top 3 pitchers come that first series in the postseason?
I think Freddie Peralta, without question, is the number 1 starter on this team.
Okay.
He's been getting in high pitch counts. You won't see him this series, but he's been pretty good. Struggled the other day, though. 16 wins. Cy Young candidate.
Yeah.
I'd say Woodruff in game 2. And if you're telling me right now, game 3, I'm going with Quinn Priester. And those would be my top 3 guys as of right now. I think Priester has earned himself, as of the moment, the number 3 spot in the postseason.
It makes sense. All they do is win when he's on the mound. So, and that's the whole idea of this thing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to a fun series in Milwaukee. Once again, thank you guys for making Locked On Cardinals and Locked On Brewers your first listen every day. If you haven't already, please give us both a follow on X, like, subscribe on YouTube, and help our channels grow, because without you, there is no us. And Chuck, best of luck in this series, dude. I'll be texting with you. And just remember, I'm a Packers fan too. So
I know
be
you
nice. If things don't go well, be nice. Don't get too cocky.
As I've always said, even though our 2 teams don't like each other and our fan bases don't, you and I can still be friends.
That's right. We'll remain that way. Thank you guys for being a part of this Locked On crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.